Welcome to SVG-TV's news for Thursday, March 13, 2025. I'm Triska Campbell with the details. Several months after a price reduction for lands distributed in 2024 at Langley Park and Orange Hill, Cabinet has made adjustments to set the price at $2 per square foot. This was announced by Acting Prime Minister Montgomery Daniel on radio yesterday, who explained that Prime Minister Dr. Alf Gonsalves had initially reduced the price on the day of the distribution, but adjustments were necessary afterward.
Cabinet would have approved these lots at $3 per square foot. But knowing the Prime Minister, when he was on the platform where we were handing out those letters, he thought that he would have seen that the lots were at $2 per square foot and made the call to the persons that the government is offering these lots at $2 per square foot. And so the Lands and Surveyors Department was now in a bind as to whether or not Cabinet, having approved the lots at $3 a square foot, and with the Prime Minister making a public statement indicating that the lots are now going at $2 per square foot, that they had to have the clarity as to what they should actually be.
In November 2024, letters were distributed to 128 residents, 94 in Langley Park and 34 in Orange Hill. The acting Prime Minister stated that those recipients can now take their letters to have the changes made officially.
The matter went back to Cabinet. Cabinet has subsequently approved the lots at $2 per square foot. And so the recipients are now being asked to take their initial offer letter to the ministry, and that is to the Lands and Surveys Department, to hand in that old offer letter and to pick up their new offer letter at the price of $2 per square foot. It's less money, and I'm sure that the recipients will be indeed happy for such an offer from the Prime Minister of St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
The lands were initially offered at a reduced price due to the status as Garifuna lands, which are now considered Crown lands. Later this month, on March 22nd, the Spiritual Baptists will observe Spiritual Baptist Day here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. The government is supportive of this celebration, and on radio, Acting Prime Minister Montgomery Daniel stated that discussions have been ongoing with Archbishop Melford Pompey regarding the matter.
One of the matters to which to be discussed this today in Cabinet is the program to which they will be organizing and that they'll be involved with on the 22nd on their Spiritual Baptist Day. So that that too is one of the activities to which the month of March will be experiencing. And so we look forward to the recognition and for all of the activities that will be held during the month of March.
Parliament declared May 21st as an annual public holiday for members of the Spiritual Baptist religion in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. On October 1st, 1912, the colonial government outlawed the Spiritual Baptist religion through the Shakerism Prohibition Ordinance. The law was repealed on March 22nd, 1965 by the E.T. Joshua-led Legislative Council, which removed the ban. Over a 3-year period, 2,215 businesses and 451 companies have been registered in St. Vincent and the Grenadines by the Commerce of Intellectual Property Office, CIPO. Finance Minister Camilla Kansaf shared these figures in Parliament last Thursday as he responded to a question from Opposition Senator Siobhan John about the number of registered businesses and companies between January 2022 and December 2024.
In 2022, there were 640 new businesses and 160 new companies. In 2023, 763 businesses, 164 companies. And in 2024, 812 businesses, 127 companies, for a grand total over that 3-year period of 2,215 businesses and 451 companies. Those are very good numbers in the context of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. With a number that large, the honourable members could anticipate that there are quite a few different business types. The honourable member asked for the areas of operation of these new businesses. They fall into, Madam Speaker, 89 different categories.
Minister Gonsalves pointed out that the majority of the registered businesses and companies for the period under review are in the services sector. He explained that this trend highlights a shift in the country's economy from goods-based industries to a more service-oriented economy.
Are not challenges, logistical challenges or mechanical challenges with the payment and standard of the standard registration and or maintenance fees. The only challenge that arises in the collection of fees is in relation to companies where a penalty is imposed for late filings. And I know that there are some attorneys in this Honourable House who sometimes represent companies that, for whatever reason, do not do their annual filings and their annual report and they have their board meetings and these sorts of things that are required when you have a company at SIPO. It's one thing to register a business name. It's an entirely another thing to incorporate a company. And when you incorporate a company, there are certain obligations that the regulator imposes and fees that have to be paid. And very often, well, I'm digressing, Madam Speaker. Let me read the answer that the civil servants provided. In some instances where the penalty is imposed, some companies claim the penalty to be excessive. However, it is the responsibility of the company to file within the prescribed time to avoid the penalty. The reason the penalty is high is because we want to motivate you to do your filings in a timely manner. Over the last few years, several entities have approached the Cabinet seeking waivers of penalty fees for non-compliance with corporate filings. Waivers of 50% of these fees were granted for a period, which did affect revenue collection at the department. SIPO has stepped up its public awareness effort to sensitize corporations of their responsibility to keep up with their filing obligations. Also, the government granted a period of moratorium to allow defaulters to fulfill their filing obligations. The matter persists, but we are reminding persons who have incorporated a company to get familiar with their statutory obligations in respect of.
Regarding the collection of registration and maintenance fees from businesses and companies, Minister Gonsalves noted that SIPO has been largely successful in this regard. Minister Gonsalves also encouraged companies to meet their statutory obligations. He suggested that if businesses face difficulties in fulfilling these obligations, they should consider registering a business name first and only incorporate a company when they are ready to fully comply with these requirements. The 36th meeting of the Caribbean Association of National Training Authorities, CANTA, to be held in St. Vincent and the Grenadines next week, will focus on a workshop development in member states' countries-specific TVET training and certification strategies, as well as process challenges and future plans. The meeting will open on Wednesday, will also feature discussions and networking opportunities. Director of the National Qualifications Department in the Ministry of Education, Endel Johnson, said that St. Vincent and the Grenadines is recognized as a leader in quality, particularly in TVET education. He noted that the upcoming meeting is a significant milestone for the country, which will be hosting the CANTA meeting for the first time.
The CANTA member state would do their presentation. They will present to the other member state the progress. So for St. Vincent and the Grenadines, we are going to present to the rest of Canada our progress in St. Vincent and our plans going forward. And as I am on that, St. Vincent is chair of the Quality Assurance Committee. So I'm also chair of the Quality Assurance Committee. And St. Vincent and the Grenadines has been recognized as a giant of quality in the region. So our quality assurance mechanism is up there with the rest of the world. Apart from that, we will find that the Secretariat of Canada will inform the body as to sponsorship and plans for development, personal development in different territories.
Chairperson of the Garifuna Reparations Working Group, Professor Federico Lanetsrin, says they are slowly making progress as they work on study and research aimed at securing reparations for the Garifuna people. The working group, which was formed in October 2023, has a number of plans, including the research and identification of lands, geographical spaces, and the identification of Garifuna people. The chairman noted that there is a greater need to work closely with communities if reparatory justice is to be achieved.
In particular, to maximize the involvement of the communities in order to establish the specific means of reparations that they need, starting from monetary compensation, which is not the priority maybe, but it's important in order to allow the community to feel the disadvantage they have with other people and to allow the progress of their cultural and communal life. But then particular emphasis will be placed on symbolic reparations that, in the experience of international law on indigenous peoples, have proved to be very important to restore the relationship of indigenous peoples with the world where they live.
Professor Lanzarini stated that they are collaborating with regional and international legal frameworks on indigenous peoples' rights, and they incorporate human rights into the reparations process, which he said is being carried out in phases.
The reconstruction of relevant law and practice of reparations for indigenous peoples to be positively used by the Garifuna people. The development of a reparation strategy for the Garifuna people, the formulation of concrete reparation requests, public dissemination of the work of the working group, and in particular its final report. And last but not least, the establishment of contacts with governments, regional organizations, and any other relevant actors with the purpose of starting negotiations.
He added that while many countries still try to avoid the reparations discussion, more work must be done to address the wrongs done to the Garifuna people centuries ago. He emphasized that these issues should be confronted and rectified.
Well, it is necessary, and I see that we are already doing that today in this conference, to deeply involve and sensibilize the society at large, at the national and international level. It is particularly important to foster a new social conscience as to the need to make amends from the mistakes of the past. I have the intention to return on this point, but this is one of the most formidable obstacles to overcome, because today not many people are willing to recognize that in the past mistakes occurred.
The Garifuna Reparations Working Group is also working in alignment with the 2013 10-point CARICOM reparations plan. A number of participants also raised the issue of reparatory justice at the 12th Garifuna conference, which concluded today. Meanwhile, several participants at the conference raised concerns about the need for increased awareness and pride, as St. Vincent and the Grenadines is considered the motherland of the Garifuna people.
I woke up early to go swimming in the ocean. It's part of our connection to this land. So that spiritual aspect of Yurumeng, of St. Vincent's being this site of pilgrimage, and Baliso being the site of the deaths of so many of our ancestors, I think that spiritual connection there it would be a good strategy, I'm saying, and also connecting the individuals from the Americas, the United States, to fortify that legal strategy.
Those paintings were meant to depict the people in a particular way. As I said, it's just a short comment on that. But later on, when his son came to St. Vincent in 1791, and Châteauier and one of the other chiefs visited him, he said they were well dressed. He didn't say by well dressed. We didn't have a painting of what well dressed meant. So there are a number of issues relating to that and how we interpret the paintings.
St. Vincent is the motherland. St. Vincent is the homeland of the Garifuna people. However, I've been to Honduras, I've been to Guatemala, I've been to Belize, I've been to Nicaragua, and when I was speaking to the Garifuna people over there, they had the same thing, that St. Vincent is the homeland. However, I feel that there's not much talk about what we in St. Vincent can learn from the Garifuna people in Central America. And I think it looks to me like for the Central Americans, we are spiritual. We can provide the spiritual connection to them. But for us, I feel like from an economical and educational perspective, Central America is where we should maybe.
A Garifuna contingent made up of representatives from several countries, including the USA, Canada, Guatemala, Dominica, and Trinidad and Tobago, is in the country for the conference and is expected to participate in the National Heroes Day activities tomorrow. Meanwhile, students and teachers from the Laugh and Learn daycare and preschool visited the obelisk at Dorset Hill today as part of their celebration of National Heroes Day. The outing allowed the young learners to connect with the significance of the day and reflect on the contributions of the nation's national hero, Joseph Châteauier. Teacher Fiona Charles Toby explained that children are never too young to learn and are never too young to begin learning about their history, emphasizing the importance of early education.
The children are up here because we were talking about the theme, our national hero. And as you know, that history is a subject in schools. So at this early age, it's good to implement our history to our little ones, right? So that's the reason why we're here, so that they can get to see the monument and they can get to see the nice view of the ocean, and why Chief Joseph Châteauier chosen this point so that the children get to see the angles of the ocean. That is why we brought them up here.
Toby further emphasized that teaching children about their history at an early age helps to build a sense of pride and respect for their culture.
But what the children would gain from it first, as I said, it's history. So they get to see the monument, and that image will stick in their sight or in their mind for a long time. So even when they reach to primary school, they will still know, okay, I know about this. It's called a monument. So that is why I think every child should learn about their culture, their traditional, and their history. That's the reason.
This visit is part of an ongoing effort by the school to expose young children to important national milestones. Tomorrow, Friday, March 14th, is National is a national holiday here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines in honor of the lone national hero Joseph Chartier. A number of activities are expected to be held across the country, starting off with a wreath-laying ceremony at the obelisk here at Dorsetshire Hill.